Did I hear something? Did I wait?
Disagree.
Did I hear something about somebody beating Brother Rice?
Hey,
You
man.
might have. You might have.
I had to start the recording when I was hearing y'all talk. I'm like, hold on,
Hey,
wait. Time out. Did somebody
you,
say who? Wait, explain what you just said, Cash.
I said if any team's gonna beat Brother Rice, it's gonna be St. Rita. The way that St. Rita's been playing these last few weeks, Steven and Walter's connection has been unbelievable. And like I said, Walter's been like unguardable in the Hershey game and in the Batavia game. And as soon as like you start to handle their passing game, they started incorporating the run game. That's what they did against Batavia. And they were averaging like 6 yards a carry, 6 or 8 yards a carry. So like, I don't know. I think I might be the one to say I won't be surprised if St. Rita gets it done.
You know, it's funny because what we were saying last time actually was that when St. Rita and Brother Rice played the first time, I believe Walter Jones is his name, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Walter Jones.
Yeah, Walter Jones, and then Steven Armbruster. Am I saying his name correctly?
Mm-hmm. I'm
Yep.
sure. Yep.
They both were out, weren't they?
Yep.
Yeah. Because Steven
Mm.
was dealing with I forgot what injury he was dealing with, but yeah, and then Walter was out too.
Yeah,
And
so
see, like,
that's
And
an important fact. I don't know how we missed that. That was an important
Yeah.
fact we did not mention in the last time we talked about
yeah,
that.
And mind you, that game ended 28-10. So 28-10 without your starting quarterback and one of your best receivers. I mean, that game is probably a lot closer, than
right.
it ends with them in the game. So yeah, I agree with Cash, man. This game is gonna be a lot closer than people think. It's gonna be a lot closer.
Like I said from the beginning of the season, Brother Rice is my favorite to win 7A. And what we gonna say? RICE Gold Crusaders. I got Rice in 5, man. Stop it. I got Rice in 5. I'm on the same wave. I know. But here's the thing. I've always said that St. Rita, I imagine them going on a big run way before the season even started. I was like, I think they're gonna go on a big run, right?
Yeah.
And look at them. They made that run all the way to the state championship. And then a couple weeks ago, I was like, let me just stop playing around. I want to see St. Rita and Rice in the state championship. And look at it now. We're here, 2 odd weeks later. We got St. Rita and Brother Rice in the state championship. This is honestly one of those why we hear moments again.
It is.
Because
it is for real.
No disrespect to all of the other teams that's in the state championship. I know we got Mark Carmel versus Oswego in 8A. In 6A, we got East St. Louis versus Fenwick. 5A, we have St. Francis versus Providence, and Martini playing, I believe, Rochester in 4A. I have to recheck that. But still, we got other teams in the state championship, but the one that's going to be the main state championship to pay attention to is St. Rita versus Brother Rice. And I know people are going to be talking about it like, yeah, the Catholic League Super Bowl, who cares? Like, I know we got 2 Catholic League state championships already, who cares, right? But this is going to be by far the game of the night on Saturday.
Sure.
For sure. It's easily going to be the best game.
Yeah. No, I mean, what it's gonna come down to, man. I know we're talking about, Walter and Steven, but that BR defensive front we saw against Downers Grove North, and Downers Grove with Owen, you got a big time quarterback, but it's limited when you have a defensive presence that's just making it extremely difficult for you to execute. So I mean, if they can hold up against the front, it'll be interesting, but I think they will. I mean, 28-10 without those 2 guys, the first time the 2 teams meet, I think this time it's a lot closer. And St. Rita has some momentum. They've been playing great. So I don't know, man.
Absolutely. One second. I want to take a moment because I know people are probably looking at us like, who is this extra person talking with us right now? If people don't know by now, this is Cash Thompson. Cash is a kid that we've been working with over like the last month, I would say. We started off with our Home with Flossmoor versus Sandburg video for Sandburg's homecoming. And we've actually been working with Cash a lot recently. Cash is like what we call a legend in the making, to be honest, because he just naturally gifted kid that knows how to talk sports very well. So I just want to give some time to introduce Cash Thompson. He does a lot of his own videos for Sandburg, where he does Cashing In with Cash Thompson. But Cash, you want to say anything before we dive into some of these games real quick?
Nah, it's awesome to be here, finally be on the show. It's been fun working these past few weeks, especially I've been getting a lot of comments ever since you guys dropped that reel. Everyone in school on Friday was like, Mr. Legend in the making over here and calling me a celebrity and stuff. but that was dope. Yeah, and I mean, it's been fun to go to other games because even on Saturday it was my first non-Sandburg interview on my account. So like it's been fun, and I'm excited to keep going. So
Yeah, we're excited to see where this all goes to for you, Cash, because this is like you're only a senior in high school. Next year, you're going to be going to college. So this is really just the beginning for you. So whatever way I know we can help, your platform grow, and, we're going to be more than willing to help every step of the way for sure.
for sure, let's grow together. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Now, let's get back into this game. So you actually mentioned that you went to the St. Rita versus Batavia
I was
game.
I was there. Yeah.
And I was at the Brother Rice versus Downers Grove game. That game was very lopsided. Can I hear some takes from you as far as like some things that you saw from St. Rita versus Batavia?
Yeah, I was telling Efe before the show started. It was kind of just St. Rita from the jump. Batavia on the first drive, they drove down the field and they went for it on fourth down in Rita territory and didn't get it. And from that point on, it was like kind of just Rita had an answer for everything Batavia threw at him. Even on the first offensive play of the game for St. Rita, Steven threw a deep ball to Walter, and if Walter didn't trip, Walter tripped and fell, so it was an incompletion, but it would have been a touchdown. Walter was wide open. So like, and they ended up driving down the field and scoring, and they were just dominating them. And then they were forcing 3 and outs, and FA brought this one up. It was first and goal on the 1. And Rita held them out of the end zone. They went for it on fourth and goal on the 1, and they didn't get it. And for me, that was like the nail in the coffin, like momentum wise. As Batavia did score a couple more touchdowns later on, but it was kind of garbage time points. And I think Rita had already won the game by that point.
Yeah, one thing that FA always say, he said this after Montgomery Brother Rice game. He said, if you can't get 1 yard when you need to, the game ain't yours to win.
Yeah.
And it seems like from what you saw, you felt the same way too, Cash.
For sure.
How was that? What was that flea flicker like seeing that in real time?
Oh, dude, it was awesome because Steven, they had everyone fooled. Like even the parents that I was sitting around, like everyone was like, I thought it was a run, and then they flipped it back, and Walter was wide. And that was kind of the story of the game. Like if they could get the ball to Walter in space, he was getting 10 plus yards every time. And he was the X factor in that win for sure.
Yeah. And that was who they was missing last game. They was actually missing both of them last game. So
yeah, against Brother Rice. I'm gonna come out and make it official. I think the Mustangs are gonna upset the Crusaders. I'm saying it.
Oh my God!
I'm saying it.
Cash,
I'm saying it.
I hope you're ready for what's about to come, bro. Because there's a lot that go making picks on here.
Yeah, it definitely is.
I know. Because trust me, I heard the noise when FA picked Lincoln Way East over Mount Carmel, and I heard all the noise. But hey, if my boys can't get it done, I'm ready to hear the noise. Because I know Brother Rice is a really good team. Obviously, when we watch them against St. Charles North and just kind of keeping track with them throughout the season, I know they're a really good team. But I think the momentum and the way that St. Rita is playing right now, I think they're going to get it done.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, FA? Because I already said my thoughts. I already said it. I got Rice in 5. I've been saying I worked my previous job before I started at the IHSA. I worked with one of my closest colleagues was Thomas Tavridis. Shout out Thomas Tavridis. He actually was a part of the Brother Rice team that last went to state when they lost to Loyola, when they were undefeated. And one thing I kept telling him throughout the whole season, I'm like, I got Rice in 5. And if y'all know, you have to win 5 games in the state playoffs to win the state championship, right? And I got Rice in 5 this whole time. I still got Rice to this day. I know Walter was hurt. I know Steven was hurt. But I still got Rice in 5. FA, I'll let you take it away.
All right. So now we've been here before, right? We've been here before. And
Mike told me you had another chance right now to redeem yourself from last time, to pick Rice this time. What you gonna do?
I'm gonna say this. You know what, Mike? Respectfully, Go Mustangs. Boy, I got Rita. I got Rita.
Come on.
I got Rita. All right. I got Rita. All right.
Come
You know what?
on.
What we did they didn't have Walter. They didn't have Steven last time. I think they get it done. And you know what? I'm gonna use this time to even highlight Walter because I was gonna make a graphic. Bro, he's like I said, I made the post about TJ Lewis from Bolingbrook. One of the most underrated athletes in the state. He's so super underrated as a wide receiver. When you watch on film, his ability to take any route on the route tree for a touchdown. You know, the ability to make people miss in the open field. You know, his hands are for sure. Like he catches like all of the passes. He's consistent. He's a super consistent receiver. And to not be ranked, not have any star rating is crazy, bro. Like he's been playing like the best receiver in the state in this playoff, hands down. So, like with him playing that way and having Steven back there, they can run it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm going with Rita, man. I'm going with Rita, bro.
I was even gonna say that. Walter is so underrated, criminally underrated. I think St. Rita as a team in general. I mean, Steven's quarterback ability, he's underrated. And when you brought up those Brother Rice, the front, the D line, like I know they're really good, but St. Rita's got a really good O-line. And like that showed in the Batavia game. Obviously, the Batavia D-line and Brother Rice D-line, there's a difference. But like, because I'm also, when you guys said I know everybody, blah, blah, I'm actually friends with one of their O-linemen, Eli, shout out to him. But yeah, they're just gritty up there. And also their defense too. I just think St. Rita's a really underrated team, and I think it's going to show at ISU next weekend.
I mean, what? St. Rita ended off their regular season 5-4. And one thing we talk about all the time, you know, with a team making the importance of a team making a deep run in the playoffs is to be battle tested. And one thing you brought up, FA, is that they had probably arguably the toughest schedule than any team in the playoffs this season. You know, I mean, obviously we're in 6A, you know, East St. Louis plays a national schedule, so they played a lot of national teams. And, you know, Mount Carmel played, you know, Archbishop Moeller, first game of the season. That's a tough team, one of the top teams in the state of Ohio. But still, if we're talking about in-state competition and teams that they played in-state, St. Rita has probably played top 5 toughest schedule in the state of Illinois, hands down.
No doubt. Sure. No doubt.
Hands down. So going back to my point when I'm saying they ended their regular season off 5-4, right? And they go into the playoffs and make a deep run to bring it all the way to the state championship to face a team that they played early in the season. Talk about a redemption arc of a story. I always say, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Zuko had the greatest redemption arc ever. St. Rita could potentially have the greatest redemption arc of a season ever to win their first state championship since 2006. I believe that was fall 2006. Man. So, yeah, we'll see. But like I said before, RICE, go Crusaders. I got Brother Rice in 5, man. I think about it like this, right? Only team Brother Rice has lost to was Mount Carmel. And I believe that game was, 27-14, something like that. Something around that lane, 2-touchdown game. And I said it then when Mount Carmel played Brother Rice, that Brother Rice had every chance to win that game. They just didn't capitalize on a lot of things. And when they played DGN, it was looking a little scary. You know, a couple turnovers here, turnovers there. I think the game started off 7-3. A couple times in the red zone, they should have scored. They turned the ball over, or they had to, kick a field goal. But all that being said, they still won big in that game.
Yeah.
So, and I think Brother Rice is one of those teams, like you say about Mount Carmel all the time, FA, I think Brother Rice is one of those teams that have big play capabilities. Mainly because they have a very good quarterback, CJ Gray. If he can limit those mistakes a lot and they can really get their run game going, and then their defense come back in and do what they need to do, what they've been doing all season, I don't know, man. I think it'd be the same story as the first game. I know Steven and Walter was hurt. But I think it'll be the same story as the first game because Brother Rice has gotten better since they played St. Rita.
Absolutely.
But St. Rita has also gotten better since they last played Brother Rice.
Yeah, and it's definitely, for me, I definitely would say that St. Rita is the underdog in this in this matchup. I mean, on
Most
paper,
definitely.
Brother Rice, even speaking of CJ Gray, man, I want to show him love too, because in that Downers Grove North game, I mean, 4 rushing touchdowns. He was looking like he gonna be a perfect fit next year with Army, and you know, the way that they utilize their quarterbacks in the run game. So he looked amazing. And I mean, if you're considering best, like if they play their best, it's going to be extremely difficult for St. Rita to win. You know what I mean? If that D-line is playing their best, if CJ Gray is playing his best, they are, in terms of like talent, like a Mark Carmel. Like if they're playing their best, it's going to be extremely difficult for any team to beat them. You know what I mean? So you mentioned Mark Carmel is the only team that Brother Rice lost to. That's a hell of a team to lose to. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I think it's going to be interesting, and I do think it's going to be a lot closer than most people expect, but I got to roll with St. Rita, man. I think they get them back, man. You get a second chance at it, you know, that's how it works. High school football, you know, it's any team's night.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you did mention CJ did have a very good game, but here's the thing that I also appreciate about CJ's performance yesterday as well. He made some very, well, I wouldn't even say costly, but some very early mistakes. And that could easily flutter a player where it snowballs effect into just a terrible game and just a terrible performance, right? But what he did, he shaked it off, flushed it, as Sandburg would say, and then he came back and had a phenomenal performance. I mean, that performance was crazy to watch. If he has that same performance, taking away the, you know, silly mistakes, St. Rita going to be in some trouble.
yeah, but hey, St. Rita is a team defensively that can cause turnovers, bro. Like even when they play,
Brother Rice can't.
No, they can. Don't get me wrong, they can. But what I'm saying is St. Rita has that ability to take the ball away. Like they have playmakers defensively, and they get to the ball, they get hats to the ball. And so I mean, we could keep on, you know, making our case for who we think is gonna win. But hey, in the next couple days, we'll be able to find out who exactly is the best in 7A. So we'll see. But hey, it happened the way we wanted it to, I guess. St. Rita, Brother Rice.
St. Rita had 1 interception yesterday, and they could have had 2 or 3. I'm just saying. I'll put some icing on the cake there, but yeah, I'm safe to say I'm excited for Saturday at 4 p.m.
Yeah,
most definitely. All right, so this is what we're gonna do. Cash, this is gonna be your first time, but I want you to give us a score prediction. Who you said you got St. Rita winning? What's your final score prediction?
Okay, so like I said, the vocal point of St. Rita is that offense and how Steven and them have been playing. I think we see a 35-28 victory on a fourth quarter touchdown from Steven and a big stop by the defense. There it is.
Hey man,
is Steven connecting with Walter on that late game touchdown? You're saying?
You know, they call Walter 6 problems, so yeah. Walter's a problem. So yeah, I'm going to Steven to Walter touchdown in the 4th, and the defense making a big stand. St. Rita wins 7A.
All right, FA, what's your score prediction?
I'll say 35-21 Rita.
Ooh.
You got a 2-touchdown game.
See, I thought about it.
Oh, you're nuts, bro. You're nuts.
Hey,
you're crazy, bro.
When the last time you said I was nuts, I was halfway right. So I'm halfway crazy. I could be halfway crazy.
Facts.
Facts.
You got me on that one. You got me on that one. This is, and then let me pull up the IHSA bracket real quick. Actually, I got it off the top of my head, right? The first team to score on Brother Rice was actually St. Charles North. And I can't remember the final score, the score of that game, St. Charles North versus Brother Rice, but they were the first team to score on Brother Rice in the playoffs.
42-18.
42-18. They didn't make it to 20 points. I knew they didn't make it to 20 points, but I didn't know the final score, right? Then let's fast forward to last week, right? They played Downers Grove North. I think Downers Grove North put up 17, maybe a point less. My point is this. The fact that you think, both of y'all think that St. Rita is going to put up 35 points and nobody in the whole playoffs has even cracked 20 points?
Yeah, nobody else in the playoffs is as good as St. Rita that they've played.
Fair enough. Fair enough, right?
That is true.
Fair enough. But to say that Brother Rice's defense,
bruh,
is
St.
not
Rita.
going to hold St. Rita to at least 21 points or something like that.
We could give or take a touchdown. We could give or take 28, whatever. But so far in this playoff, Batavia 54, Hershey 56, Lincoln Way Central 31. Like the offense is rolling.
Go to Brother Rice. I know you. It seems like you got to pull it up. FA, what did Brother Rice pull up? Pull up Brother Rice's points.
Brother Rice. 45-17 Downers Grove North, 42-18 St. Charles North, 46. So yeah, okay, they're both putting up points. But look, the quality. Okay, let's take Batavia. Let's take Batavia versus St. Charles North versus Downers Grove versus Jacobs. Like, look at the quality. Hershey, Batavia. These are teams that they're putting these numbers up on. So I would have to give that edge to St. Rita. What you think, Cash? What you think?
Because I was gonna say, I'm just saying that what he said, the quality, like Lincoln Way Central, Batavia, and Hershey, those three teams, like besides Downers Grove North, like I think Batavia would beat St. Charles North. You know, so like St. Rita has had to battle every game. And I'm not saying Brother Rice hasn't battled, because that's not true. Because I watched the first half of that St. Charles North game, and, you know, it was kind of close, but then they ran away with it. I can't really speak on the Downers Grove game because you were there, Trey, and I wasn't. But St. Rita has been just nonstop, just beating people in and having to handle their business on offense and defense. So I'm just going to keep my pick. St. Rita, I think, gets the dub. I know the Brother Rice defense, and like FA said too, we can give or take a touchdown. You want to make it 28-21? Go ahead. Either way, I think St. Rita is going to get the dub. And they're going to show that they're the better team. I'll say it.
There you go, Cash, man. Stand on it.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Before I give my score prediction, I'll say this. One thing that I saw Brother Rice do in the Downers Grove North game that I didn't expect when they went on the 2-point conversion, they gave the ball to Cameron McGee.
Yeah.
Now imagine if you give Cameron McGee the ball in any crunch situation, I think that man is scoring. I don't think anybody can stop him. And then on top of that, we already know what he can do on the defensive end. We already know what that defense as a whole can do on the defensive end. We already know, we talk about Brother Rice's defensive line a lot. We don't even talk about their secondary enough. All right? Now,
fair.
With that being said, I got Brother Rice winning 35 to, let's just say, 28. Cash, I got Cash's score in reverse. 35 to 28. I do think it'll be a good game, and I do think it'll be a very close game, right? Because like I mentioned before, we didn't talk about St. Rita's injuries when they first played Brother Rice. And Cash mentioned it himself. Stephen Armbruster to Walter Jones is a crazy threat. And FAU mentioned it. Walter Jones doesn't get enough. No, he doesn't get talked about enough when he's clearly a dangerous weapon for St. Rita. Some may even say he is the X factor for St. Rita. I just think it's one of those situations where I feel like Brother Rice just got a lot more.
And it's true.
Feel that way.
You're not wrong. Wrong. They do.
Going back to my score prediction, Cash, I got your score, but in reverse. 35 to 28, Brother Rice. I think Brother Rice leads majority of the game, controls most of the game, and they just kind of play with the lead. That's why I think 7 is going to play out, and I think Brother Rice will get their first state championships since 1981.
I think St. Rita gonna come out bombing on Brother Rice. Well, I think
so.
I think they gonna come out. I think they trying to set. I think they gonna set the tone early. Like, man,
this is making me more excited.
Yeah, but we gonna see though. We gonna see. It's gonna be a good one. We still got a lot of great matchups that I have.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get to all these other matchups. FA, you got this. You got the. Let me pull it up on my end too. The IHSA bracket.
Yeah, I got.
But y'all have any last thoughts on Brother Rice versus St. Rita before we continue on these other state championship matchups?
I think we covered it all.
Yeah, I think we said enough, man. We'll see what happens.
Well, once again, St. Rita and Brother Rice will be playing each other the scheduled kickoff is 4 p.m. As y'all know, that some of these games may not finish on time, depending on if games are become like going to OT, just like the Nazareth versus Joliet Catholic game last year. So the scheduled kickoff is Saturday at 4 p.m. It will be on WCIU, the U. So make sure y'all catch that game, because that, in my opinion, I'm gonna stand on it, I think that's probably going to be the best state championship matchup out of all of the ones, out of all of the other classes.
That's game of the weekend for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Shoot, that's dang near game of the year again, man.
Yeah,
that's like a real game of the year.
It's been, but it's like, like, I don't know. It's been some good ones, man.
Because Lincoln Way East versus Montgomery, the anticipation, 100%, that was probably best anticipation game of the year.
Right.
However, we all know what happened in that game.
Yeah, I agree.
The score didn't say it was game of the year. That's just another typical dub for Montgomery, right?
Yeah.
Brother Rice and Montgomery, I would say that was more game of the year than Lincoln Way East versus Montgomery. Just because as far as like what the final score was, right?
Are you speaking in terms of the outcome or the anticipation?
I'm thinking in terms of the outcome on par with anticipation.
Out of the outcome, I'm not gonna lie. I think we've seen game of the year this weekend.
Bro, I know what you're going to say.
Fenwick and Naz.
Yes.
Fenwick and Naz.
Let's talk about that real quick. Before we get to the other ones.
I went back and I was watching some film from yesterday's Fenwick and Naz game, and I was kind of watching the score on my phone too. And man, Fenwick pulls up the upset against Naz, who I believe they were number 4 in the state, I believe. And Fenwick was number 8, I believe, according to Slow Shay.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, it depends on who rankings you're going off of. But if you're going to Slow Shay, that's probably what it was.
Yeah, and they push it to OT, and Fenwick gets a dub. Like, man, that was a really good game.
That was, man. I was talking about Fenwick, boy. I'm telling you. Fenwick. These brothers was going crazy. But I don't want to just focus on the Thieves brothers, the whole team. It was a team effort to make that happen. So the quarterback, their receivers, like everybody, especially that last drive where it's like you get the turnover that really Naz had a chance to end the game. But
they did.
Fenwick gets the turnover and gives them life again. Like, all right, y'all got one drive to make it happen. I believe Jake Thieves had a big screen play that went for like 30 or 40 yards, put them in scoring range. They get the score, and obviously they don't go for 2, which the announcers were saying like they should go for 2. I didn't think so, because my thinking is like, you haven't been there before. If anybody's going to go for 2, it will be Naz. That's why I knew Naz was going to go for 2, because we won 3 already. We've been here before. We have less to lose. All right, so we'll go for it. But yeah, Fenwick, they get it, score it, kick the extra point. They come right out scoring overtime. Naz has the ball. They score immediately, go for 2, and a big time stop. Like, I'm going to say this is going to be another moment next to the Miles Mitchell interception against Dunlap last year in the first round, like a really iconic IHSA playoff moment for me that I'm going to remember. Like, that's a big time stop against Naz to send Fenwick to the state championship. That's legendary, a legendary moment. I know they'll remember, forever. So that was you're right, Cash. Like, I think that was definitely a nomination for game of the year.
Yeah, you could throw that in there for sure.
Yeah, that was a fire game, bro. It definitely was. But
I know what you're about to say.
But
what's it all worth? No disrespect to Fenwick.
I love
no disrespect. No disrespect.
Yeah, but
I mean, at the end of the day, we've been saying this all year. Pray for 6A.
Pray for 6A.
We know what's on the other side of 6A. We know what East St. Louis just did to St. Lawrence, but what they've been doing to all of 6A, what they've been doing to all Illinois teams. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think they've had the closest game I think East St. Louis had was the Glenwood game, probably.
Yeah, but that's because they had 33 penalties they were making.
My point is, they still put up like 50-something.
Yeah,
points.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
They're crazy. Like,
East St. Louis is definitely different, and people like even with their nationally, like the schedule that they play, is people saying like, hey, they always lose when they go out and play out of state. Do you understand that East St. Louis? Hold on, just hear me out. East St. Louis by enrollment is a 5A school with the talent, like you said, with the talent of an 8A school. They're going to play IMG Academy. They're going to play these type of schools that are private schools. that have way more fun. Bishop Gorman, private
Bergen
schools
Catholic.
that are funded, that have more resources, that have more everything than them. So that's like come on, that's like a CPL school going to play Bishop Gorman, and you like, oh well, y'all went out there and y'all lost. But did they compete though? Like they're competing with schools with way more resources, way more. They're recruiting. They're doing all of these things. East St. Louis is a public school in not the best area of Illinois, and they're going out and they're competing with the best in the country. Like how can anybody have anything to say about that? Because most of the schools that are playing, if they went out and played the teams that East St. Louis played, they will get beat 70-0, 80 you know what I mean? Like they will be getting demolished. Other than a handful of schools. So it's like to not respect them going out and competing with the best schools in the country. Y'all crazy, bro. Like y'all are insane.
And at the end of the day, I don't even think most people realize they're doing that intentionally to be battle tested for Illinois, because it's like you said it yourself. Yeah, they were 1-3 or whatever their record was when they finally got back into Illinois play, right? You said, yeah, they got these losses against these big teams, right? But when they come back to Illinois play, they're going 60-0, 67-0. And literally the first game back, I think it was like, 66-6 or something like that? Whatever the score may have been. And they ran through their conference. Then they played IMG Academy at the end of the season. Lost, but come back into the state playoffs. They kicking 6A's ass.
Yeah, they're just rolling. They're rolling
and
through 6A.
I know for a fact nobody wants to see them in 6A. But here we are again, state championship. East St. Louis, I think this is their 5th consecutive year in the state championship.
Yep.
In 6A specific, is all of those in 6A?
I think they're all in 6A. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure
so
they all were in 6A.
They will meet a Catholic. Fenwick's not a Catholic league school.
You always say that. Yeah, they are.
They are. They are a Catholic league school.
Yeah, they are.
Oh well, look at that. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of comments about
the Catholic
league school. Yeah, about how many Catholic league schools.
As soon as I came back from Rita yesterday, I hung out with a couple of my buddies, and they were like, "Oh well, 7A's, 2 Catholic schools, and then Fenwick makes it another Catholic school." Like and the take was that Catholic schools shouldn't be able to compete with public schools, but I don't believe that. I mean, I think East St. Louis is going to show everybody why that's not the case. But
yeah, it'd be a good game, though. And somebody sent us a message. I can't remember who it was that they said they got Fenwick winning that.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember who it was. It was somebody in the DMs.
Yeah, I forgot.
Was it?
I forgot her name. She's from Mount Carmel, I believe. We met at Mount Carmel, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I think it was her. But yeah, I read that and I'm like, and then she followed it up with, okay, maybe I'm saying that like being optimistic, but I'll still say what I said.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna continue to say this. It could be any team's night, and we've seen East St. Louis losing the state championship before. So
Grove,
yeah, and they've done the same thing and get there, but it's just like the style, the matchup, the way that they play. I mean, who knows? It's any team's night. So I did tell you this. Like I think I'm not gonna say it's gonna be closer than people think, but I don't think they're just gonna roll on Fenwick. I don't think it's just gonna be they're not gonna score. Fenwick has enough grit and they have enough talent where I think they're gonna put points on the board. I don't think it's gonna be outrageous, but we'll see. Depending on the type of team that comes out there, you never know. We've seen East St. Louis hasn't won 5 consecutive state championships. They've lost. So they bleed, they can lose. And the times that they do lose, me being objective, the times that East St. Louis loses in Illinois is in the biggest moment, which is the state championship. So, hey, we'll see. We'll see what type of flyer team comes out. But I mean, if we making predictions, there's no way I'm betting against East St. Louis. Not at all. Not at all.
I bet. So I'm obviously picking East St. Louis, and I'm picking them big. Picking them to win big, and I personally don't think it's gonna be close. Like it's like what you said. It's like what you said all the time. The whole season, FA is levels.
Yeah, definitely. And when you watch them play, yeah.
And come on now. I want a score prediction from y'all. We're gonna get a score prediction from every class that we're paying attention to. I want a score prediction. I go first. I got 55-12. East St. Louis.
55-12.
Something on those lines, give or take.
Maybe I'll go 42-14 42-14.
He read my mind. That's what I was gonna go. I was gonna go 42-14. East St. Louis picks up the win over Fenwick. But
Yeah.
I kind of agree with what FA was saying though. Like Fenwick's talented and they got grit and they showed that against Naz. So if there's some pushback to East St. Louis's dominance, I wouldn't be surprised. But
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, because we know East St. They're gonna come out there. They could potentially make mistakes. They could potentially it's the state championship. And we've seen crazy things happen. So, like I
right.
said, we've seen East St. Louis fall in the state championship to Cary Grove. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, the lights aren't gonna get brighter than the state championship on Saturday. And like FA said, the only time I've really heard of East St. Louis losing an Illinois play is the state championship. So I mean, we're gonna see, but I don't think it will happen. But it could. It could.
I will say this. I do remember a time when East St. Louis lost to Richards when Richards last went to the state championship. But they did also play
what
Richards.
What year was that?
That had to have been 2013.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I know. More than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, yeah, I agree with y'all. And obviously we all unanimously picked East St. Louis. Real quick, I want to go down to, I know we skipped 8A, we're going to get to 8A, but I feel like the class matchups that we're talking about right now is probably a little bit more interesting. And the next one I want to talk about is your class FA, 5A. We have a matchup between St. Francis and Providence Catholic. Another, what we want to call it, Catholic League Super Bowl, if you will. You've been high on St. Francis all season. You've even called them the Chicago Public League killer. That was you, not me. I didn't say that. But the one thing that I find interesting is that I believe St. Francis played Loyola early in the year, right? And they lost.
Yeah.
But then Providence played Loyola and they won. But you think that St. Francis will be victorious in this game because you've picked St. Francis to win 5A.
Absolutely.
Way before they matched up even against Providence.
Yep.
Maybe let's hear your take on this, FA.
I think that I watched a little bit of Providence and Oak Forest, and Providence is a good team. They got, some young talent there. But yeah, I just think St. Francis across the board is just more talented than everybody in 5A. That's why I picked them to win 5A in the very beginning, because even though you had Cary Grove and Prairie Ridge out there, I knew that for sure if they got past Prairie Ridge, then it's really set. Like, that's it, because I felt like Prairie Ridge was the better team than even Cary Grove. But yeah, just some of those guys that they have offensively with St. Francis, Brock Phillips, Zachary Washington, a lot of the other guys defensively.
Dario Milivojevic.
Yeah, yep. So they have talent across the board, and they just been playing well. They've been playing great. You know what I mean? They've been playing great. It was kind of a battle against Prairie Ridge, but I think they're just more talented across the board, to be completely honest. And I personally don't think it will be much of a close game, to be honest. I could be wrong about that. It has the potential to be close, but just watching Providence versus Oak Forest versus watching St. Francis play, I think that it'll be at least a convincing victory. I would say at least a 2-score, victory for St. Francis. So if I had to make a prediction, I'll probably go 28-14.
Yeah, me and FA were talking before we started recording, and he was telling me that, like he said, he thinks St. Francis is going to handle business, and I do agree with him. On paper, like the talent wise, Francis does beat Providence in that department, but the Providence, they have a feeling, this team. It feels like something good is cooking up over there at Providence. And there's one guy I want to point out, and I gave him the nickname the Freight Train. His name's Joey Levy, and that kid I watched a couple Providence games this year, and that kid's untackable. Like he's shorter, but he's beefed up, and he can run through a team. And also Providence, like I said, they find ways to win games. Like that Loyola game, they found a way to win that game. A game they lost, Joliet Catholic, they were getting beat pretty bad by Joliet Catholic, and they almost came back and won that game. So it's like they're a team that never really hangs their head, and they're a team that can really shock people. And here we go again. I'm going 31-28 Celtics beat St. Francis.
Oh,
okay. So you got Providence beating St. Francis. Okay.
Yeah.
Cash.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about St. Francis, right? As many times as they've been in like weird situations where they could have lost a game. I'll go back to the beginning of the season when they first played Kentwood, right? I've said it. That's a game they probably should have lost. But coulda, shoulda, woulda. They won. Let's fast forward to another CPL team, Morgan Park in the first round. It's probably also a game they should have lost. But like I said, coulda, shoulda, woulda. They got a dub. Prairie Ridge, probably their biggest challenge in 5A. Won that game against, I think Prairie Ridge was probably undefeated at that time, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
Won that game. That was probably their hardest matchup in all of 5A. So I say that to say this, right? And then outside of that, FA, I think you mentioned, outside of that matchup, where they play Morgan Park first round, they play Prairie Ridge the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, they've probably had the easiest road to a state championship. Just because they played probably two tough teams the first round, right?
Yeah.
So, in me saying that, them being in situations where I felt like they probably could have lost or should have lost, they ended up winning. It's going to be hard for me to pick St. Francis losing a state championship. So, I'm going to grow with what you said, FA. I think St. Francis will win. As you already mentioned the talent, Brock Phillips, Zachary Washington, Dario Milivojevic, and I'm probably missing a lot more other people on their roster as well, so forgive me. But I do see them winning against Providence. I do think it'd be close. I say, I don't know if it'll be very high scoring, but it could be.
Well, hold on. Well, one thing that we're forgetting is that this has happened already. They played in week 5, and St. Francis won 47-35. So that was pretty high scoring.
Oh, great point.
Mhm.
Great
Yeah,
point.
you know what I'm saying? So I mean, potentially it could be, but lights are brighter. Different location. It's a bigger stage. So who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was high scoring when they played week 5, and St. Francis came, but it was close, 47-35. So it looked like it'd probably be a good one. So we
47-35.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'm going to have to say it's going to maybe be a touchdown less from the highest score. So maybe it's going to be a 35-30 type of thing. It is a state championship, so you're going to be put into situations where it's like, all right, maybe we got to kick a field goal here and there. Maybe we got to go for a 2-point conversion, whatever the case may be. But I do got St. Francis winning. They've been finishing games. They've been in weird situations where they could have lost games, even in the playoffs, and they found a way to win. Not a knock to Providence, but I do think St. Francis is probably the more talented team, and I think they'll win a state championship in 5A.
Yeah. And then shout out Providence regardless, because you go 4-6 last year, you don't make the playoffs, and the next year state championship appearance. So shout out Providence, great turnaround.
Really good turnaround, because last year they were not a competitive team last season. They were a team that, it was like, and also like Providence, like these last few years, they haven't really seen a lot of winning in the football department. So like, for them to come out this year and go all the way to the state championship after going 4-6, it's impressive.
Yeah. Yep. And the crazy part is last year, Providence upset St. Francis 27-25. And St. Francis was good, great last year. You know what I mean?
In the regular season.
Yeah. In the regular season, they upset them last year. So yeah, I mean, hey, it's some history there with the teams, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But it is, based on what we talked about, it's shaping up to be a great game. It may even contend for game of the night. I think those two are going to be the closest.
I think those two
games
are the
of the
game
night,
of the
to be
night.
honest.
Yeah, the Catholic League Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Buddy, I'm gonna get in trouble for that one.
People
I'm
already
getting in
pissed
trouble
off
for that
about
one.
this, and you
said
trolling.
what?
I said you trolling. People already pissed off about this.
I'm gonna get in trouble for that one.
You gonna get them started.
You gonna get hit.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in trouble for that one. I'm gonna be in trouble. My bad. I see it coming already. I'm gonna get in trouble for that one.
But after the state championship is over, all the talks are gonna come out. They're already
100%.
talking about it now on Twitter or X about it. So I mean, It is what it is.
We talked about the bylaw proposals, right? And I mean, tomorrow, the legislative, we're filming today, Sunday, but we probably won't release this episode till tomorrow night. So by the time this episode release, I don't know when it will go public, but I know tomorrow the Legislative Commission meets again after, talk about the reception from the town meetings about the, new bylaw proposals. So we will see which bylaw proposals are going to the ballot very soon. I think the all-school ballot opens. It's going to be open between December 1st and December 15th. So we're going to see if any of those football proposals make it to the all-school ballot. And some stuff could possibly be changing depending on what the Legislative Commission decides. Yeah. So,
yeah,
one of the things we talked about was the multiplier being a proposal that was on that bylaw proposal that was being proposed. Was the multiplier being up from 1.65 to 2. What was it? 2.0? I can't remember exactly.
I think it might be too flat, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah, okay. So whatever it was, they trying to up it from 1.65. That could get past the Legislative Commission and go to the all-school ballot. But we'll see. By this time, we'll see. I don't know when they'll release what's open yet. They may wait to after. I don't know. Honestly, I'm still new. I'm still learning that, so I don't know when that information will be quite available yet. But I do know the all-school ballot will be open between December 1st and December 15th. I do know that for a fact. So we'll see, though. We'll see. We know the conversation already got started after yesterday. After the state championships for each class was already set, the conversation already started. So once we see how each class wins, think about it like this, right? 8A, we already got Mount Carmel winning 8A.
Mm-hmm.
Catholic League. 7A, there's 2 Catholic League schools. So it's Catholic League there. So 8A, 7A, Catholic League. 6A, we got East St. Louis winning. But if East St. Louis lose, Catholic League. 5A, 2 Catholic League schools. Catholic League. 4A, we didn't even talk about 4A yet. Montini Catholic playing Rochester. Catholic
League.
And I think that's a clear 4A win for Catholic.
Yeah.
Montini. But even though we haven't gotten to it.
So, and then I know when we get to the lower classes, we got Byron versus Tolono Unity and some other, private schools. I mean, not private schools, public schools. But private schools, specifically, let's just not even say private school. Specifically,
Catholic.
One specific conference is what we're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm. And I would love to make this a conversation. Conference. Like that, and that's the thing, bro. Because even I started doing basketball research, and I'm going to the playoffs. So like the issue and all, without even having to dive deep into a conversation, the issue isn't an economic issue. The issue isn't anything other than what team can get the best players, because it was multiple years where basketball was swept by CPL schools. So how is basketball swept by CPL schools, but then CPL has only won one state? They won 2 state championships in football by the same team. So that, you know what I mean? So if it was an economic thing where we're talking resources, it should apply to both, right? Like what makes the difference between basketball and football? It's the players. The good players are more than likely going to the CPL schools versus the Catholic schools or whatever. Like that's
yeah.
What
I don't think, from at least from my knowledge, I don't think anybody's ever argued that it was an economic thing. I think most times people are arguing, like you said, FA, it's a where are these players coming from and where they're going type of thing.
No, there was definitely a tweet from somebody today about it being an economic issue.
Really? I didn't even see that. Well, I said to my knowledge though, but I do think it's more of a where are these players going and where do they live type
That's
of
all it is, bro. That's all
it
is.
Yeah, so, and also like from an Orland and from Sandburg's perspective, it's like the Pioneers, when they get built up, if they're really good, you just know they go in Catholic. So, it's like, and obviously, hey, and also
you got
like
a crazy perspective, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Right. So like, and like obviously,
because he knows actually. My bad, Cash. I'm gonna let you finish. He knows a lot of the kids that are at like a lot of these schools.
Right.
Go ahead, Cash. My bad.
So because I'll just put it into perspective. Think about how different IHSA would be if whatever the Catholic League doesn't come out to Orland, all that, and Jack Elliott plays for Sandburg. Think about how different that is. So it's like, and obviously, Sandburg kept good athletes over the years, like this year's team, Vince, Quinn, Jaden, like guys like that. But like Steven was an Orland kid, Catholic League. But the Brother Rice kicker you talked about, Brady, Catholic League. And it's like, that's our perspective of it. Because like I can keep going on and on because there's a group of them that went to Marist. There's kids that went to Providence from Orland, Mount Carmel. I'm just saying from my perspective, it's like, damn, like think about Jack Elliott lighting up at Sandburg every night. Would have been cool. Would have been cool.
Yeah.
But hey.
And that's a phenomenal point and something that we always mention and something that I always say this. Where are the Catholic League getting their players from? From your community. All of the coaches that are upset and pissed off about what's happening, where are they getting them? I just ran into somebody at the gym. I won't mention the athlete. I don't mention anything specific, but they're from a specific community and they won't be going to that community high school. They'll be going to a Catholic league and it is already set. So it's like, you can't sit here and complain about all of the difficult things that are happening and it's unfair and competitive advantages when you have the gold in your area. You have the great athletes right there in your backyard. But the problem is coaches now are lazy because it was a point in time where you didn't have to recruit in your communities because it was a given. Me and Trey grew up in Lansing and Linwood. It's a given that we're going to TF South at a point because guys play for the Lansing Lions, whatever the case may be. The structure was set up for the pipeline for us to go to South. So you did see people leaving, but it wasn't like at the rate it is now. And that's why South is kind of at it down now because a lot of the athletes from those communities are going to different schools. But that's essentially what it is. If the Catholic leagues don't have the athletes, they won't be good. You just mentioned a whole bunch of names that are dispersed amongst the Catholic League. If all of them stay and play at Sandburg already had a pretty good season. They're probably a state championship contending team with guys like Jack Elliott playing. So that's the difference. That's the difference right there. So I would love for anybody out there to explain the flaw and and the idea of what I'm saying.
I gotta say, go ahead, Cash. My bad.
You hit it on a nail. It's just like, and also like for different communities, it's kind of like trends. Like obviously, like when I was in middle school, like Sandburg wasn't that great at football. So like all those kids, like they're not attracted there. Now that Sandburg has a good base, Coach Murphy is building a really good program. Now, like maybe some more kids will go to community high school rather than the Catholic League. And like you guys said, like I love my boy Sean at quarterback at Sandburg, but like, and when we talked about St. Rita, if you put Steven at quarterback for Sandburg, they're a contender in 8A. Like they are like Carmel is number one, obviously, and Sandburg would be in that 2 or 3 slot, in my opinion. So it's like it's just a different perspective for sure.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's definitely interesting.
See, here's my thing, right? And I'm gonna just play a little bit of devil's advocate. Obviously, I agree with y'all when y'all say like the kids, like retaining the kids at the community high school is the biggest factor, right? But if you think of a school like Sandburg, right? Sandburg has a very nice campus.
Man,
for sure.
Sandburg, Orland Park is a very good community overall. I personally played the Orland Park Pioneers growing up when I played with the Dalton Bears. That whole community, it's like everything about essentially Sandburg. They got a nice. I said it when I was in high school. I said Sandburg's lunchroom cafeteria reminds me of a High School Musical cafeteria because how big it is, right?
Oh yeah, it's huge.
They're notoriously good in wrestling, if I'm not mistaken, right? Mm-hmm. Sandburg.
Mm-hmm.
And really many other sports that I'm not even talking about, right? My whole point is this. Everything is there for a kid to want to go there, right? Even now with Coach Murph being there as the head coach, y'all had a very good season. Y'all had went 5-0 for the first time since what was it, 1998?
Mm-hmm. And really, we could have been 6-0, but things happened and we lost Naperville North. And the first Lockport game, we were banged up, and then obviously in the playoffs, they just got the better of us. But
my point is this: everything is there for essentially that would attract the kid to go there. Good community, high school, good coaching in the football program. If we're talking about football, because it seems like that's the main thing we're talking about right now. But yet, a lot of them didn't. And I don't think it's just as, me personally, I don't know if it's just as simple. I mean, it's definitely a point in as far as like retaining the kids, right? That is the main thing. Like, but I think it's more deeper into like, why does a kid who is a good talent that comes from the Orland Park Pioneers doesn't want to go to the community high school?
Bro.
And obviously, Sandburg is not the only high school that an Orland Park Pioneer kid can go to, right? I think is Andrew in Orland Park what's the other school in Orland Park that I'm not thinking of?
There's none in Orland, but like Andrew's.
Oh, okay. So
very close.
It would
Andrew. Yeah, it would be Sandburg for Orland. Mostly.
It would definitely be Sandburg. Okay.
Yeah, unless like someone's playing from Tinley and then they go to Andrew, but
yeah, got you.
I think.
Yeah.
So my point is this: is that I think it's more deeper than just kids. I think it's more of a why, and it's more of an understanding. What coach were we talking to? What coach were we talking to that I don't want to say, but it was a specific coach from a South suburban school that left because he moved out of state, and we're gonna say his name. I know who we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But he even said it to us. He said it ain't really that simple. Like, yeah, you retain the kids, but then you still gotta convince like the parents will still choose a Catholic league school.
Right. But here's the thing. Here's the issue. Here's where I'm simplifying it. We all have to be on the same page, right? That's the confliction, where if you have a coach that wants to progress the program and add all of this value and do all of these things, and then you have admin that give pushback, then that's the confliction of like, things can't happen now. But like, if everybody has the best interest for the athlete, which some of these programs clearly are, the East St. Louis's of the world, I'm sure there's no confliction between coaching staff and admin as far as like, we want to travel to Nevada to go play here and we need this amount and we do. I'm sure there's not really a confliction. It's like, yes, we want y'all to do that. But again, like I said, did I release the video yet? But I'm gonna say it anyway, that everybody doesn't have the mentality in high school sports to be the best. Like, high school sports is not to be the best. It's for social development. It's for, the school spirit and camaraderie and all these different things. It's not because we want to win a state championship. It's not because I want these kids to go Division I and play in the NFL. That's not the motive. That's not the priority for high school sports. Some people just want to have a program that's run very well. And that's okay. And I think that's the separation of like, there are schools and people who want to be elite, and there are schools and people who just want to have the program running as a high school program should. And that's why I keep bringing up an open division, but I won't get into that. But I just think there's a clear separation of the mentality and the goals for certain programs. And I think that's the difference you see.
Do you think the fact that they're also non-boundary plays a factor in that too?
In terms of what?
Private schools, they're not. Private schools are, another word to call a private school, and if we're talking about IHSA terms, is a non-boundary school.
Yeah, it's not best. Yeah, but so I'm just trying to understand your question. What exactly?
No, I'm saying, do you like the fact that they can just literally take from everywhere?
Does it give you an unfair advantage?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it gives you an advantage, but I'm not gonna say unfair because you have the ability to do the same. Look how Cash explained it. Steven left his community to go play at St. Rita. These players are leaving. So you can recruit in your area and keep your players home. Now,
you can't technically recruit.
You can recruit in your community. You can recruit.
You can't.
Bro, you can go to middle schools and you can talk to kids and say and inform them about the program. You can do those things.
Yeah, but you can't tell them to come to your program.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying like, hey, come here and play football. But you can have there's
informationals and give them the information to make your school appealing.
You can have them come there and live with the team and see things and make it appealing to them. That's what I mean by recruiting. Like, that's recruiting. that's trying to convince you to come somewhere. We get caught up.
So that's passively recruiting in your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, we getting caught up in these words of like recruiting, but it is recruiting. If I'm trying to show how grand and great this school is, so that I can get you to come here, what am I doing? Like, I think we need to in high school sports, we need to start transitioning the word recruiting as something that's negative into something that's just normal. Because in college, recruiting is normal. In all these other professions and industries, recruiting is okay. It's fine. There's nothing negative about recruiting. The only place where it's negative is high school because people don't want to do it. But it's nothing wrong with recruiting. What's wrong with that? Like, what is actually wrong with it? You should be out there trying to show and promote your program and get people to come there. Like, it don't even make sense to me.
I'm going to leave it at this. We'll be talking about this all day.
Okay, last thing I'm going to say about it. Last thing, bro. I don't want to hear shit else from nobody else if you're not a CPL school. CPL schools, the coaches, the admin, everybody, teachers, they're the only ones who should have a true opinion and a true disagreement with how things are because of the disparities that they face. Like, that's all I want. Everybody else, if you're at a suburban school and you got resources and you got facilities and you got weight rooms and you got all of this shit, just shut up, bro. Because it's teams out here, it's teams out here that can't afford to have footballs, an adequate amount of footballs, an adequate amount of resources, adequate amount of equipment. Like, kids literally can't play in programs because there's not a lot of equipment. We have fields that don't have lights. And you want to complain about what? A multiplier? You want to complain about unfair advantages? That's an unfair advantage when a team doesn't have the adequate resources to even compete at a normal level, let alone an elite level. So if we're talking about making any changes, it should be to aid the CPL programs. So I'm gonna stop.
I'm not gonna have an opinion on that for obvious reasons. See, Cash, this is how FA gets sometimes. Sometimes he just gets on a tangent. He's like, I'm gonna get this off.
All right, I'm done.
Cash, you got any last thoughts before I take this back to the last few state championship games so we can close this episode out? I forgot we were here talking about the state championship, man.
Oh my God. Came into the fire, bro. He like, what the
fuck? He's right. But also, like, with the recruiting, it's like Trey said, you can't, like, obviously, like, because even at Sandburg, they have like the pioneer workouts and they have like the kids camps in the summer and stuff. And that is recruiting, but I like how you put it. It's like passive recruiting. You know, it's not like not Carmel specifically, but like the Catholic schools in general just have more recruiting abilities than the public schools do. But the CPL is at a major disadvantage, and that is also true. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. But
yeah, and I'm just not gonna have an opinion on the matter, for obvious reasons. But let's just go back real quick. So we all agree that St. Francis and Providence, it's gonna be another good game.
Yeah.
And St. Francis, Cash, you had Providence winning, and me and FA had St. Francis winning. Real quick. Damn it. We're about to go down to 4A. Montini versus Rochester. Damn. This is so crazy for me to segue to this game after the conversation we just had. Montini, private school. Rochester, public school.
Yeah.
So it's like, did I say Montini Catholic School? Rochester Public School.
Yeah.
And they'll be playing on Friday at 7 p.m. for the 4A state championship. Let's just make this quick. FA, who do you got?
Montini.
Cash, who do you got?
Montini.
I also have Montini. But Rochester is a very good team, and they could give them a run for their money. And I'm hoping that we can see an upset here.
Yeah, and they had
Israel Abrams, that kid is phenomenal. Only a junior. This will be Montini's third consecutive state championship if they win, and they could potentially, if they win this year, they could also probably run it back again next year. So we shall see. And then I just want to shout out the team, Byron. They are a really good team. I think they'll win 3A. And The other classes will be 3A will be between Byron and Tolono Unity, 4 p.m. on Friday, and then Wilmington versus Aurora Forsyth for the 2A state championship at 1 p.m. And then at 10 a.m. on Friday it will be Lena Winslow versus Brown County for the 1A state championship. Does anybody have any thoughts or remarks on those state championships?
No, I don't. Definitely gonna be tuned in to watch some of those teams play. And
I do want to say one thing about Aurora Forsyth. They actually have a mascot. He is a sophomore. I believe his name is Matthew. And he is actually battling leukemia. So I want to say shout out to Matthew. I know the team that hosted them last week actually had donations for him and everything, but he is the mascot for Aurora Forsyth, and they're actually in the state championship. So, prayers out to Matthew.
Yep, Matthew.
Battling leukemia.
We praying over you. We praying for you over here at the off-season
Most
family.
Definitely. Yep, and then good luck to Aurora Forsyth and both teams in the state championship for sure. Real quick, is there any last remarks? I guess we kind of skipped 8A. Let's just go up to 8A real quick. 8A, Mount Carmel versus Oswego. I know I purposely skipped this game because it's kind of like one of those East St. Louis and 6A situations. Who do I got between Mount Carmel versus Oswego?
Oswego. No, I'm just kidding. Mount Carmel, man. Come on, man. Mount Carmel.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. You can't. But I do want to shout out Oswego for winning that Lockport game. That was a tough game. It was a defensive battle, and they came out on top. Which a lot of people, from what I heard and what I talked to, a lot of people thought Lockport was going to win that game. I personally picked Oswego. I really liked how they looked against Maine South, and they got it done. But it's to win that, to go to war, and I think Mount Carmel is going to handle them pretty easily.
I agree. I do also have Mount Carmel, but I will say this about Oswego. They had one of the toughest media day flicks out of anyone.
Yeah,
and they could have easily won the off-season media day competition. I know that went viral. Shout out Justin Flicks, because I believe Justin Flicks is the one that did that media day. And they went super viral, and people, like, I think it was more like older adults were hating so much. They're like, what is cool about a guy being in handcuffs? And I don't think they understand the new generation in that light of, like, this is kind of like, think of it like staged. Like, this is kind of like, acting almost or whatever.
It was tough.
That was tough. They had one of the toughest.
Those were tough.
Media day competition or media day flicks for football for sure. So even if they don't win the state championship, hey, that media day, y'all gotta step it up next year with the media day competition for sure, because y'all gotta do that one. But shout out Oswego for that. Yeah. But I do think Mount Carmel. Back to my point, I think Mount Carmel won the state championship.
Definitely. But yeah, like you said, shout out Oswego. Y'all made it there. That's an accomplishment. You making 100%. It to the final, and you get a chance to compete. Like I said, there's any team's night. Obviously it's a tall task ahead, defeating Mount Carmel, super talented, one of the most talented programs in history, so, and you get a chance to, snatch a moment. We'll see, but shout out to them.
Most definitely. I want to say this. It's crazy that we're at the end of the road here.
Yeah.
With football. Obviously, we'll be back next week, probably recapping a little bit of some of the games, depending on how all of them turn out. And we probably have a little deeper discussion on how many Catholic League schools won or whatnot, or private schools versus public situations. So I'm sure we're going to be recapping that next week. But look at us, guys. We're at the end of the IHSA football season for 2025. Man. State championship would be Friday and Saturday at ISU Stadium. I think it's Hancock Stadium. They all will be filmed and televised on WCIU, the U. Now, real quick, I want to transition to basketball, because there is a girls basketball player that went crazy and actually just broke Candace Parker's, was it all-time scoring record?
No. It was single game record.
Single game, my bad. Game.
I think I know
scoring record. Yeah, it's Trinity Jones. Is it Trinity Jones?
Trinity Jones.
Trinity Jones.
And the thing is with her is she used to play at Bolingbrook, and before she transferred out, I watched her play Sandburg. Wow. And I also seen that she was getting a lot of offers even as a freshman, and she deserves them. She can hoop. She was cold, and I'm happy to see her doing big things even after transferring out of Bolingbrook.
Yeah, definitely. So she went off. I watched that game. Was able to post a couple of highlights, a couple sequences she had, but she went for 43 points against Kenwood, who was the defending, 4A
For
state
A state
champs
champions.
last year. So that was a big game, and I wish it was. The timing is so bad because we're in like the height of football season, so we didn't even give it as much love as we should have. But that's like a mega matchup for girls basketball because you got a defending state champ, you got Trinity Jones returning to Naperville Central, and two Titans clashing. But man, Trinity, like Cash was saying, like bro, elite talent. Like you can tell the difference on the court. Like if I said point out the Division 1 5-star, you wouldn't have an issue identifying who that was. You know what I mean? Like she coast to coast, she doing that, and then she came off the bench. She came off the bench, bro. She carried man, Naperville Central is must see. If you get a chance to go see Trinity play in person, I advise you to go see her play because, like I said, it's one of those generational type of talents for real. And yeah, she went off. I can't wait to see how they do and how they compete going forward.
Yeah,
I
I'll
will
definitely
say
be there.
this.
Oh, go ahead, Trey.
Oh, go ahead, Cash. My bad.
I will definitely be making a trip to Naperville to watch her play for sure because she's a generational talent for sure.
I will say this. I remember making a graphic for when Candace Parker jersey got retired by the Chicago Sky. And I remember seeing a comment that was like, man, because I posted some pictures of her when she was playing for the IHSA, playing in the IHSA state championship. And I remember somebody commented saying, man, I remember watching her play when I was in high school, and you just knew. Like, you can look at her, you know that we're looking at the next greatest thing coming out of the state. And it seems like when I was talking to you, FA, you was like, bro, you should have just been watching her play. She was like a woman amongst little girls almost. It was like she took the ball from one end of the court to the other end of the court bucket.
Multiple times, back to back, like
So,
nothing you can do. So yeah, bro, she cold, man. Y'all gotta go see her.
And she just committed to Clemson. My bad,
Yep.
Clemson. Why did I
she
say
committed?
because I'm.
Yep. She committed to Clemson not too long
Okay,
ago.
yeah, I
So
missed
some
that.
people, so it's crazy because a lot of people were speculating that she would commit to Tennessee because Candace Parker took that same route coming from Naperville, committing to Tennessee. So they figured there was a pipeline there, but no, she actually committed to Clemson. So yeah, she's man. Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to the next big game that they play. I know I was talking to you about maybe some games that, some teams that are good out there, but it's not basketball season yet for us officially. So we haven't done
Well,
any,
I mean, the basketball season starts tomorrow.
It does start tomorrow. So I guess
Chicago
we will
Elite
start.
Classic will be the week after that, right? Or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Because I'm going to a Sandburg game tomorrow already. So it starts tomorrow.
Well, it's time. Well, next time we get on cam, we'll definitely be definitely very knowledgeable about what's going on and teams we should be talking about, and hopefully some crazy stuff happens tomorrow that we get to talk about. But as of right now, it's all about the state championship.
All right, before we go, Cash, what you think about how the Sandburg basketball team looking?
Oh, I think this is going to be, well, like I said about football, I think it's going to be the best team that I've seen. Yeah, our sophomore year, we had a couple good seniors, Ryan Tomzak and David Vargas. And then my junior year was last year, and it's pretty much the same team. We had two seniors, Yusuf and Connor Gleason, but now they step out the door, and we got two seniors that I want to shout out that could really do it. And I think our D1 basketball players, Will Johnson and Jonah Johnson, they're twins. They played for Hoops for Health over the summer. And last season, they were both the key X factors of Sandburg's team, who I just want to point out, a team that's going to be really good in the IHSA this year is Marist. They're going to be a really good basketball team.
Yeah, we know.
And
they returned a lot of players.
Yep. And Sandburg, last year, they lost to them in the playoffs, but they gave them a really good fight. It was a under 10-point game the whole way. I think we ended up losing by 12, I think. But I think this year is going to be really good. We have a lot of returning players. and a lot of youth as well. We have a lot of juniors coming off the bench, and I think even one junior, his name's Daniel Marquinho. I think he can find his way in the starting lineup eventually. So I'm excited. I am. I think, and me and Trey talked about this at the Brother Rice game, that kind of IHSA basketball's kind of up in the air this year. Obviously you got your couple top guys like DePaul Prep and stuff like that. But then after that, like it's kind of up in the air. So I'm excited to see what Sandburg could do. And I think they can make some noise for sure.
Definitely. Well, that was just a little bit of cashing in with Cash Thompson segment right there.
Oh man,
you already know.
Bro,
you already know.
Man, bro's super talented, bro. I'm sitting here like, damn, bro. Like, not too many people just hop on and with us, and then they just natural,
just jump right in natural, right?
Yeah, this shit, we didn't miss a beat, really. So yeah, for sure.
I appreciate
Definitely
that.
looking forward to the future and doing, podding and building this up for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm excited. We're gonna grow together. We're gonna make this thing big. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. But outside of that, do y'all have any other closing remarks before we wrap this thing up, man?
Man.
Well, one thing to get Trey mad, go Mustangs. All right. We're good. We're good.
Like I said, RICE Go Crusaders, man.
Hey, I hope you know, Cash, you about to get clipped. So you gonna be in somebody highlight mix, bro.
Oh, I know. I know.
You about to get DMs and everything. You gonna pull up the state. People gonna be coming up to you like, hey, what was that stuff you said?
Hey. I'm standing on it. Hopefully I'm in a highlight video for maybe Walter Jones when we're talking about him, and he catches that touchdown in the fourth quarter that I'm talking about. Hey,
okay,
we'll see.
For sure.
We'll see. I'm excited.
Possibly, but this is the off-season podcast with Trey, FA, and Cash today. I don't remember what episode this is, but this is whatever episode it is. We'll be back next week recapping the state championship games, and then we'll be moving on to basketball. So keep up with us, keep checking us out, and we'll keep it pushing. But this is the off-season podcast, and we are out.